Sorry about my sultry voice this morning. I don't know what happened, like a midsummer, boom, it just hit me last night. So, lucky you, you're gonna get a 4-minute homily. I really did try. I really tried to condense it and move, so anyway. But it's good stuff. It's really challenging stuff today. And it's very real stuff, so we'll just kick right in. You fool. Your very life will be demanded of you today. Who's all that stuff going to belong to? Your feuding kids? Your bickering brother or sister? Thus it'll be for all who are rich and store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God. So when I was thinking about this week, I thought, you're rich, to myself. And I actually don't have a lot of money, but I'm rich. I would say we're all rich to varying degrees. To whom is all this stuff going to go? But then the line that hit me was, are we rich in what matters to God? That's the key question. What do you guys want to be rich in as you grow up, huh? So often we're like, oh, I'm going to get this kind of a job so I can make all this money. What's that money going to be used for? Are we going to be able to help other people? I see it in this parish all the time. And not just with money, but I see it with generosity of spirit. People are so rich in this parish, in their giving, in their concern for others. And they're wanting to help in our capital campaign, in food distribution, taking somebody here or there. But the more I look at what happened this weekend and last week at the Garlic Festival, those 3 that were killed, taking your kids, your family to a summertime festival, going to Walmart. I know it's early, but it's the reality of life. Listening to some of the stories, I immediately flashed to my mother, maybe 10, 15 years ago, coming out of Walmart or Hannaford's, with a shopping cart, and this guy just, and then Dayton, another 9. It's 29 people in a weekend, just gone. And I don't know about you, but you remember when Sandy Hook happened? The outrage? That administration couldn't do anything about it. This administration certainly isn't going to do anything about it. It makes me wonder, where's the opportunity just to have reasonable discussion? It's upsetting. Las Vegas. Just think about Las Vegas and all the others. Life changes like that. Today's not meant to be depressing. It's meant to kind of jumpstart us into thinking, what is life about? Whatever time we've been given, where are we putting our energy? What are we busy about amassing? Again, are you and I rich in what matters to God? Kohelet says, all things are vanity. That doesn't mean looking in the mirror and going like, hey, vanity like that, huh? Vanity in this way means all things are passing. We're just moving through in the time that we've been given. And he says, how do we number our days aright that we may gain wisdom of heart? Think about that. We're book smart. But what about wisdom of heart? Well, it's what the girls are going to receive today. That's the great gift of the Holy Spirit that's going to be given to them. To Emily, to Eliza, to Cordelia. Wisdom of the heart. That's what the Spirit's about. That's what Jesus is trying to pass on to us. What profit comes to somebody who works so hard throughout life, and then 6 weeks after retirement, we hear it all the time. What profit comes to somebody from whom all the toil of life, and listen to this one, all the anxiety of heart where, quote, even at night, our mind is not at rest. They didn't have iPhones. They didn't have the internet and the stress and email. They didn't have the technology that we have today. And the same human dynamic was still going on. That's why Koheleth and Jesus are reminding them and us 2,000 years later. All to what end? All to what end? Now, as I say this stuff and the rest of this stuff, I want us to be thinking, and this is the hard part, about whatever it is that you and I are holding on to that we're finding very difficult to let go of. That if it was the time for our last breath, would we have that realization like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? Why didn't I set that person free? Why didn't I help more? I had more than enough. I want us to be thinking about things in this way. At least I am. And it's a little uncomfortable. It's good midsummer questions to begin to look at. In The Brothers Karamazov, Dostoevsky tells the tale of a guardian angel who was weeping, and God looked at the angel and said, "What's the matter?" And the angel said, the woman who had been in his charge had been so bad and so wicked that she was stuck, absolutely stuck, down in HE double toothpicks. You with me? So God said to the guardian angel, well, has she ever done anything that's good? And the angel said, yes. Once, she gave an onion to a beggar. So God sent the guardian angel to go find the onion, to use the onion and to pull her up out of HE double toothpicks. The guardian angel actually succeeded in finding the onion. And then the angel held out the onion to the woman, telling her, hold on for dear life. And when she was being pulled out, all the other people down there started to grab onto her legs and hitch a ride. And the woman started to kick and flail and say, let go, it's my onion. And at that moment, the onion broke and they all fell into oblivion. How's that for a nice comforting story at 9:30 in the morning? Don't focus on the HE double toothpicks for a second or God's wrath. No. Focus on the onion. It's the onion that gives us that ability to get out of that place of selfishness and greed that Jesus talks about, of hopelessness and despair. It's the onion in your life and in mine that we give to somebody else and that we don't hang on to too tight. No, that's my onion. No, those are my toys. I'm not sharing with you. That's my money. I worked hard for it. What's the onion in our lives? All to what end, these possessions of ours? Possessions and money, it's all in our talents and abilities. They're all a means for us to help other people and to make their lives more meaningful and even possible. Look at the gospel. I mean, the Father dies. It's the trajectory for all of us. You see it on all the stuff in the stores. I mentioned at the beginning, everything's got a shelf life, expires on. It's kind of crude and crass, but I'm thinking about it in light of us, like, we're not here forever. We deny it, we postpone it, we numb ourselves to that reality. I'm wondering, what if we let the knowledge that we will take that last breath motivate us, especially if we don't know when that last breath is? What if it becomes a motivator, like, hey, listen, I don't know how much time I have, but I'm going to do this kind of good. I'm going to bring beautiful kids into the world, and I'm going to shape them in the ways of, in the values of Jesus. And hopefully they're going to grow up to make a difference in the world and sell onions. So better yet, give them away, What if it motivates you and me to be less greedy? And again, not just with money, but with our time. How much wisdom is in this room, in this church here, from learned experience and life experience? Are you and I sharing this stuff with people? Are we making ourselves available as best we can? Jesus says, take care to guard against all greed. For though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions. Paul says, think of what is above, not just what's here on earth. Do we want our lives to be meaningful or meaningless? I end with these two things. One, a question from Viktor Frankl. Who's Viktor Frankl? Anyone? What book did he write that was very famous, that I think it's certainly on the Unni top 10 list, and I'm talking like number 1, 2, or 3, huh? Man's Search for Meaning, right? Man's Search for Meaning. He was in the concentration camp. He said, they can take everything away from me. They can strip your clothes. They can not care about your degrees, all this kind of stuff, but they can never take away that ability to make a choice internally as to how we're going to think and feel about any given situation, right? Viktor Frankl suggests maybe it is not ours to ask what life means. What's the purpose of life? What's its meaning? Rather, maybe life itself asks you and me, what meaning will you give it? What meaning will you and I give the life that we've been given in the time that we've been given? This week, not with a sense of morbidity, but from a spiritual point of view, let's think realistically about earthly things, all that we've acquired, about vanities, and again, not the mirror, but the stuff that is passing. Let's think realistically about onions and storage facilities and tearing down homes and building huger ones. Let's think about what's important in life and what's not. And let's even go so far as to imagine ourselves at the end, close to the last breath, asking ourselves, what meaning have you and I given to the one life that we have received? It's one way to number our days aright.